Alright, in this video I'm going to break down the difference between not being a racist and being an anti-racist. Many people get these terms confused, but before I do, I'm going to ask you a question. How many times have you heard a white person say the words, "I'm not a racist"? And second question, how many times have you yourself said that you're not a racist? The reason I ask this question is because saying one is not a racist is one of the most common deflections people use to avoid having an actual conversation about race. The implication being that if you're not a racist, conversations about race and racism don't really apply to you. I just want to make it perfectly clear, the point of this video is not to say that you're a racist per se. However, it's well known that most people have unconscious biases. If you say you're not a racist, but you do have unconscious bias, whether or not you practice conscious racism, not really telling the whole truth. Which, it's too much of an absolute for those of us who are recovering from white supremacy. If we're recovering from that type of thinking, you can't absolutely say it without a shadow of a doubt, 100%. You do not have a racist bone in your body. Come on. Seriously. The problem with the whole not being a racist way of thinking is that it shuts off communication. Once someone decides in their minds that they're not a racist, they stop analyzing themselves. They stop questioning things they may or may not be doing unconsciously to reinforce white supremacy. And then we stop holding ourselves accountable for any of its effects. Removing ourselves from the equation. Removing ourselves from the problem. When oftentimes, I mean, we are the problem, but removing ourselves from the solution. One time I asked the brother Marvin X, what can I, as a white person, do to fight against racism? And what he told me was, he said, work on yourself. Which I agree with 100%. We have to start by working on ourselves, and then we can work on other people. But if I was so intent on proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that I don't have a racist bone in my body, that I couldn't possibly be racist, I wouldn't be able to do that because I'd be incapable of objective self-reflection. So while I personally don't identify myself as a racist, quote unquote, you know, that's not what I call myself, I'm also not going to jump up and down insisting that I'm not one. Now, if you believe in equality, then calling yourself a racist is also not telling the whole truth. Because of the way the word is perceived, the way the word is used in common language, saying that you're a racist also paints the wrong picture. So rather than either saying that I'm not one or I am one, I've got a superior term, and that term is anti-racism. Now, the word anti, obviously, as most people know, that means against. You know, if you're anti-gay, you're against gay people. If you're anti-woman, you're against women. If you're anti-man, you're against men. You know what I'm saying? Anti-white, you're against white people. Anti-black, you're against black people. Anti-racism, you're against racism. Doesn't mean you're not racist at all. It just means that fundamentally you're trying to fight against it and you're willing to do whatever it takes to fight against it. Whether it's within yourself or whether it's in other people or whether it's in systems and institutions as a whole. Being anti-racist doesn't mean you're perfect, but it does mean that you've made a commitment on some level to living by anti-racist principles. You're not just avoiding the conversation, you're specifically taking an active stance in one direction, the direction to oppose it, to oppose racism, to oppose discrimination. It's a life path. And I would say it's an identity choice too. I'm choosing specifically to identify with that, whereas not racist is it's real passive. You know, it's really just like, you know, I don't want to deal with that. Anti-racist is like, this is me, this is my identity. If you practice racism, I'm coming after you. That's what it says. Of course, some people will say, you know, but Elijah, I'm not racist. I have black friends. You know, I believe in equal opportunity. I go out of my way not to discriminate on anyone. I never use the N-word. I like people of all colors. I celebrate diversity. Okay, I believe you. I honestly do. So you're not a racist, okay. So what's stopping you from just dropping the whole I am not a racist thing as your thing? And picking up the anti-racism thing as your thing. Food for thought. Food for fucking thought. Anyway, check me out. YouTube/Anti-Racist Unity. Twitter/Anti-Racist Unity. You can join my Facebook group at Whites Against Racial Inequality. Only if you're interested in building towards positive solutions. Only because we'll ban your ass with the quickness if you're all about that drama, because we can't afford drama World is dramatic enough as it is without us fighting amongst each other. Peace out, power to the people. Hit me up, you got some ideas for future videos. I'm open to requests. Let's do this.